Starbucks, McDonald's, Yum Brands, all moving lower today. Those companies under pressure to suspend operations in Russia. Let's get to Kate Rogers for more on what's at stake and how the brands are responding. Kate.
Hey, Melissa. Well, Yum Brands KFC has the biggest footprint between Russia and Ukraine with more than 1,000 locations. McDonald's has 955 locations between those two countries. Starbucks with a much smaller presence of 130 in Russia, according to Cowen. Now, for McDonald's, the entire region represents about 9% of reported revenues, but a smaller degree of its operating profit and same-store sales at under 3%. The optics here, though, are getting tough. New York State's comptroller reaching out to several companies, including McDonald's, Estee Lauder, and Pepsi, asking them to consider pausing their ongoing operations in Russia. As of now, none of the three have announced that they are going to pause those operations. We've reached out to McDonald's several times over the last week, and the company's declined to comment. Starbucks has condemned the attack and said it will donate any royalties from business operations in Russia to humanitarian relief efforts for Ukraine. Yum Brands also said it's monitoring the situation closely, donating $1 million to the Red Cross to support relief efforts there. What is notable here, though, McDonald's is majority company operated in both Russia and Ukraine, which could give it some more autonomy over how it proceeds, while Starbucks and Yum are licensed and franchised over there. Melissa, back over to you.
So theoretically, it should be much easier for McDonald's to say we're done with Russia, Kate. What percentage of revenues? I mean, is this a big percentage that we're talking about?
Yeah, so it's about 9% of reported revenues, but a much smaller degree of its same-store sales and profit at under 3% there. And for Starbucks and Yum Brands, even smaller, under 2%, Cowen says. So McDonald's definitely has among the largest footprints there. And as mentioned, it's mostly company operated. So if they did seemingly want to stop operations there, there's no middleman to go through, right? There's not a major franchisor or franchisee rather, and a licensed partner to work with. So it's just interesting. They've declined to comment, throughout the last week and a half. We'll see what happens.
All right, Kate, thank you. Kate Rogers. Courtney, do you like any of these quick serve restaurants?
I think these are really going to have a lot of risks that we're looking at right now. I think McDonald's is actually one of the most interesting that we note here, where, yes, they are going to have less franchises in Russia, but they also have a lot of exposure in Europe, which hopefully none of this bleeds over there. But what you want to make sure of is they're probably a little bit more exposed to whether having boycotts in the U.S. or in Europe. I think they'll probably have those boycotts can affect them a little bit more. So I think there might be some more of that to come, and especially they're the only ones who haven't responded to this yet, of anything that they're taking a stance one way or the other. And I think you are going to see some of their consumers or investors kind of putting a stand to that. So what'll happen, I don't know, but I do think you might see some more ups and downs as we move forward here.
Dan, we have seen some pretty notable protests coordinated on social media of various brands for various reasons. And it's amazing that it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I guess, Mel, what I would say is it's a really hard precedent to set this early in this kind of war, if you will. And, Guy has been kind of talking about the potential for some sort of dust up with China and Taiwan. I know that's on a lot of people's radar here. What happens if there's some some situation over there? Have they just set a precedent now, these U.S. multinationals, which are really relying on a lot of international growth to kind of get things back going in a way? So to me, it's a really tough one. Listen, this is a very unique situation right here, an invasion of one of our allies, if you will, sovereign borders. So there should be some repercussions in the private sector, in my opinion.